Thank you, man, for joining speak on it on our another episode with us, man. I'm your host, Dom. I got my co-host with me. I got my man Tamon with me. I got my man Biv with me. You know how we doing it, man. We're going to ask y'all if y'all like the show, if y'all tuning in, make sure that y'all share, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Spotify. We coming to y'all with a sports field segment today. We're going to talk to y'all about the HBCUs, what's going on right now with the Redskins. We got a sports fun field show, man. So without further ado, we just going to jump right into it.
Oh, you just gonna jump right into it and then stop.
We gotta jump right. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw you went to the. I'm like, man, listen, tomorrow about to go right into it.
Nah, man, you went to the diving board. You jumped like this. You went like that.
We're gonna start with listen, the young boys, right? The young boys going from starting HBCUs. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the high school prospects choosing HBCUs. I think I was reading something the other day. I wrote it down in my notes about not just Mikey, right, but one of his teammates getting a lot of offers from HBCUs. He said he had about 3 offers from HBCUs, and I think that once somebody opened up those gates, that's when you see the floods start coming in. I remember on one of our shows we talked about the college kids actually choosing the HBCUs, but then we had like setback when we was talking about like the HBCUs actually doing something. And from when I was doing my research, I seen that ever since kids became more vocal about wanting to choose HBCUs, that the HBCUs are actually reaching out, not really trying to reach out for those second tier players, but they starting to reach out to those top tier players. So what do y'all think about that? About the HBCUs actually starting to reach out to those top tier players?
Hey man, you already know I'm a advocate as far as HBCUs, so I'm definitely glad that McCord Maker is headed to, it looks like, the great Howard University, and listening to his he had an interview on ESPN, and listening to his interview, he was saying that one of the things that sold him was homecoming. So with homecoming, what is happening here?
That's me.
Man, doubled up on us. But homecoming is what sold him, and what we were saying before as far as the culture, if some of those recruits can get on campus and get a bit of the culture and understand that aspect and understand, like, if they are one and done, then this man is on two screens. So it's double time. But nonetheless, I just think that was a great selling point for Howard, and I mean, it piques the interest. So with the coaches actually seeing that there's a shot now, I think that that's one of the reasons why they're probably reaching out a lot more.
Me myself, I seen I didn't really read the story because to me the headline was so great that I didn't need to read the story. It said that major colleges, bigger conferences, they came and they took our players and they didn't invite us to the conference. And to me, that just spoke volumes that, predominantly white universities, they came to these inner cities, and then they definitely in the South, considering the time, in the 60s and 70s, then they came and they took these more talented players, but they didn't invite the schools. And it seemed like the schools themselves just, I'm not gonna say they allowed it to happen. I'm not gonna say that they allowed it to happen, but it didn't seem like they were also advocating and pushing for young African Americans to still come to these colleges and these universities. But you think even up until the 80s and even into the 90s, majority of the best wide receivers that were coming out of college were still coming out of HBCUs.
Yep.
You know, you think about the Jerry Rices and those types of guys. They were coming from those types of schools, smaller schools, more predominantly black schools. So to see that this generation is looking to go back to that and embrace that culture and embrace our culture, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm a Michigan fan. I am a Michigan fan, but I'm black first. So if I'm gonna ride with my culture before I ride with some university that I've never attended before.
Absolutely.
So you know what I mean. So and I'm from Delaware. So if Dell State turns out a better product, I'll start supporting. But I'm not supporting 0-10. I'm not supporting 0-10. I'm not going to 0-10. I'm not going to 0-10. I'm not going to non-competitive. I can do 0-10, but competitive 0-10.
Right.
But non-competitive 0-10, I can't go and support that. But I'm all for giving these colleges and universities, because if you do your research, a lot of these colleges and universities are HBCUs, they're suffering financially.
Mm-hmm.
They're suffering financially, mostly because they're not getting that money from the athletic department.
Right.
That's why the Alabamas and the Clemsons and the Michigans and the Ohio States, the Oregons, those schools, their athletic departments, that's their cash cow. And we can change HBCU's perceptions through athletics. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. Get on that wave and let's just continue to build off of it.
I think like we talked on one of the shows, what you said about the athletic part of it. If they just start pitching that to kids, right? Like a one and done. Like you're a one and done. You're gonna be a one and done, regardless, right? Why not come put your people or your culture on the map? You know what I mean? Put your culture on the map. You're automatically gonna be like we talked about Zion, right? We talked about Zion. You're automatically gonna be a number one pick no matter where you go. Like even with James Wiseman, him not playing the majority of the games in Memphis, he's still gonna be a top pick regardless. Because he did, even though he didn't play, he's gonna be a top pick regardless. Why not just go to one of the HBCUs? You know what I mean, who are for you, who are predominantly, you know what I mean, for your people, your color, right? Why not go there, get an education? You know what I mean, maybe you do like what you see at the HBCU. You stay a little bit, and then you have exposure to that school, and while building up that athletic program. Why not do that?
I think one of the reasons is because of the competition. And I mean, if you're talking about these one and dones, they're trying to get to the league. So when they're playing against the SWAC, the CIAA, the MEAC teams, I mean, if you don't look good, then that hurts your draft stock. So it's kind of to the point to where you gotta, you know what I mean, make sure you're on your A game, because a lot of people look at those conferences as to where it's not much talent there. I mean, to where there is talent that they go overseas, but at the same time, like, they're not going to see it in the ranks of an ACC or a SEC or a Big Ten, you know what I mean, competition night in and night out. So I think that's one of the reasons that it draws a negative tone as far as a big name player going. And I salute if Mikey does pick a HBCU, if the boy now Maker, I think he's still eligible for the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So if he gets drafted, he won't go. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. But like, how does it improve his draft stock as far as going there? You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the hangups that the young kids have, especially the ones that are talented enough to go straight from the not HBCU, but high school to the NBA.
So me personally, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think it will hurt their draft stock at all. Just think about. I'm glad you said overseas. Look at Lonzo. Lonzo hasn't stepped on the the basketball court on college, I mean, or the pros, and they projected him as being, I mean, a top 2 draft pick. We haven't seen a highlight of Lonzo on ES. I haven't seen any. Huh?
It's
So
Melo,
yeah.
right?
Melo.
I'm sorry. Yeah. LaMelo. We haven't seen a highlight of LaMelo. I haven't seen any highlights of him on ESPN. I haven't
in a long time. You're right.
I haven't
He
seen
said
any
a
highlights
long
of him.
time.
Like so, so to say that if I go to this HBCU that I'm not going to get exposure, or I might not, it's going to hurt my draft stock. I would say I disagree, because I've seen people who didn't go to college and still get in the lottery. I mean, get lottery draft. We just talk about Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings for going to college. He was the 10th pick by the Milwaukee Bucks. So at least you're actually still playing basketball, and you can't tell me that if you are a top pick in a class, that if you're the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, that they're not going to follow you. Well, because one, that's a revenue stream. That's something that they can hype up, saying, listen, our number 1 pick, they want exposure for that. If you ain't got no highlight, like if you're the number 1 overall pick and you ain't got no highlight reel, when you go, ESPN, they got the highlight reel, they got that. They bring out your highlight. If you're the number 1 pick and you ain't got no highlight reel of you, I'm just sitting there and it's just dead silence and us just talking.
Hey, listen, I tell you what though, if Maker does go to Howard, I'm gonna go to a Howard Dell State game. I'll be right there in Dover.
I say this, listen, if any of them start going to one of the HBCUs and if they come to Delaware, I'm gonna try to go to one of the games. You know what I mean? Because if we can't push them to go to these schools, right? And then they come to Dell State to play Dell State, and we don't support it.
Agreed.
Now it was I'm trying to find him now. It was a guy that transferred from Wake Forest to Morgan State.
To Morgan?
Yeah, Sharon Wright Jr.
Yeah.
That was big. And one of the reasons why he said that he chose is because he felt more at home at Morgan State. And I mean, he said he's confident in himself and whatnot. So I mean, the coach at Morgan must have sold him to an extent. You know what I mean? On the atmosphere and whatnot. And coming from a program like Wake Forest to Morgan State, that's huge. You know what I mean?
To leave a big program like that to go to Morgan State, like you said, and to have confidence in yourself and enough to say, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to go out here and play for my predominantly HBCU, historically black college, and leave. I mean, a school that Chris Paul went to. I mean, they got Tim Duncan went to. They got notable names. Say I'm gonna leave that school and to go to, I mean, a HBCU. That's huge.
And he said Ja Morant is one of the reasons that made him make that decision, because he was like, he went to Murray State and look what he did. He was number 2 pick.
And that's one of the things one thing I was gonna bring up when we said the exposure. Like we can talk about Dame. Dame went to Weaver State. I mean, but he wasn't really getting a lot of exposure out there. Like I think you make, like a lot of times you make or break yourself in the tournaments. You know what I mean? So if you balling out, they put you in a tournament, people going to see who you are. Kenneth Faried, I think about Kenneth Faried, who nobody knew the hell Kenneth Faried was until he started balling in the tournament. And now next thing you know, he go in the first round. So I just think we make a lot of, like, we talk about a big game and we make a lot of excuses as to why go to the Dukes or why go to the North Carolinas and stuff like that, because they think that that's the only way I can get exposure. But the NBA is made up of plenty of players that didn't go to some of them schools. Like again, CJ McCullough. I can name a bunch of them.
I think it's different now. I think with, you got class rankings as early as 6th grade. So these guys, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, these guys are on NBA radars sometimes before they even get to high school.
Yeah.
So I don't think going to play it at heck, they could, some of these guys, if they really wanted to, they probably could go to a D2 or a D3 school right around the corner, or go to a JUCO around the corner from their home and play ball for a year. And if they wanted to, still go to the NBA because they've already proven that they are capable of getting there. The only difference is you have to be removed right for now. You have to be removed from high school for a year before you can be draft eligible. I believe that that's going to change sooner than later now. I believe that it's going to change probably within the next couple of years. They're going to, straight from high school, you can come on and get drafted. And I think this is an opportunity now with HBCUs. Now they can really go after these kids. They can really go after these kids because now it's like you don't even have to go to them at all.
Mm-hmm.
You can go straight to the league. You can go straight to the league. So now the big colleges isn't the glamour spot anymore. The NBA is the glamour spot. So now all of us are really on the same even playing field. We're just college basketball. Everybody's gonna be on the same even playing field because I don't believe you need a big time program to get exposure anymore. Because with you got Huddle. I was watching highlights the other day of a kid in like 5th grade on Huddle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
That's what I was saying. Like what you just said. There. What are we doing right now? We got a show on Zoom, right? We got a Zoom show that we broadcast live on Facebook Live and on other platforms. There are ways to expose yourself in this, like you said, in this generation. There is ways to expose yourself. So the pitch to say, well, we're gonna give you the exposure. If scouts are doing their job, they're gonna find you. I think that we make the scouts' jobs a little bit easier when you start going to a Duke because okay, that's a hub. I can go there and I know, that a player's gonna be like they're gonna produce these type of players. But if you are a scout and this kid is out here putting up his videos on YouTube all the time and putting up his videos on Facebook and stuff like that, that's part of your job to find that talent.
Yeah.
That's part of your job. So, like I said, I just think it's an excuse, for like Bill said. One of the things that stood out to me when he said that, like, they're approaching these kids in sixth grade, right? I come to you in 6th grade and I say, listen, you got talent. I'm gonna offer you a scholarship to Duke. What you gonna do? You know what? Kyrie went to Duke. Zion went to Duke. That's where I'm gonna gravitate to. So I think. You said what? You said what?
I said I'm not.
Yeah. Well, listen. We don't know. Listen. At 6th grade, if they approached me and said, "Listen, I'm gonna give you a full ride to North Carolina."
Now we talking.
I'm probably gonna take it, right? As much as I hate North Carolina, you're gonna take it because in 6th grade, you just looking at, man, that's Jordan. Jordan went there.
Nah, I would disagree on that. In 6th grade, if they talking about going to Duke, nah, that means I can actually go somewhere else. If you talking about if Duke coming to me, that means I can go somewhere else. I'm not going to Duke.
Yeah, you know who coming? It's Duke, Louisville, North Carolina, but it ain't the HBCU. It ain't the HBCU that's coming and saying, I'm gonna offer you a scholarship at 6th grade.
My disdain for Duke has been long.
I get it.
I'm sorry.
Mine too, man. I get it. I hate North Carolina for a minute. I don't know.
I also believe that it's on us now, though, as fans.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
As fans, because we have traditionally, if you go and you talk to anybody, unless you are an alumni of an HBCU, you're not a fan and you're not following that program.
That's a fact.
Any HBCU, you're not following that program. And we can give any excuses that we want. They're not on TV. They're not a national brand. Whatever it is, we do not follow and support these programs.
I agree.
So, and so I can't say that a kid should go to Morgan State if he's never heard of Morgan State.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's up to us. It's up to us, the public. It's up to us, the fans. It's up to us as parents, as coaches, to inform these young men and these young women what is available to them that is for them. I'm not saying that that these other colleges and universities aren't for them, But we know
Mm-hmm.
that these HBCUs are for them. And I believe this is the time for us to go ahead and make that shift and that transition into pushing our athletes into going and supporting HBCUs.
I got two questions that stems from something that you said, Viv. Product wise, right? So we're talking about supporting them. I think a lot of times we don't support or we don't watch because it's like, what's the draw? You know what I mean? Who's the draw there? Like, where am I going to watch? Like, who am I going to watch? Who? Because I think as sports fans, you want to identify, like, not all of us, but you want to be able to identify with somebody on that field. You feel me? Okay, that's the quarterback. I know him. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. There is no, and again, maybe that is on us because we don't do our research and we don't know these players because we haven't studied them. We haven't figured out, you know what I mean, who they are. So one of the things I was going to say is, do you think that we don't support, we don't watch because there isn't a Kareem Hunt in the backfield, or there isn't a Michael Vick in playing quarterback? So why is it that we don't gravitate to them?
I believe it's more of just not knowing. Like, if I'm from Delaware,
Mm-hmm.
Southern Delaware, so I know about UMES, I know about Dale State, I know about Morgan because they're in my vicinity.
Right.
But can either one of y'all right now? Can either one of y'all name an HBCU in California?
No, they're all on the East Coast.
My point exactly. My point exactly. So you're talking about everything on the East Coast, and then you got some spread out of, you know what I mean, down south. On the West Coast, nobody knows about them.
Right.
Yeah.
Up north, nobody knows about them. So you can't expect people to follow or even want to be a part of something that they don't know about.
Right.
So again, I believe, and I'm not putting it on them, but I believe that BET dropped the ball when they didn't go ahead and fully just throw everything into the SWAC and the MEAC as far as showing basketball games and showing football games.
Yeah.
They dropped the ball. Now that we have ESPN and you got all of these different things that you can go on to now, and you can watch all of these different schools play on Saturdays, and you can watch the basketball games throughout the week. Now you know them. But before really about 2015, their games weren't readily available.
You're right.
They weren't readily available. And if you didn't see a T-shirt or from an alumni, you didn't even know about the school. So again, it comes down to us as a community, us as a culture, exposing these things to the next generation.
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Definitely gotta make more exposure, especially since, I mean, I know me personally, you know what I mean, it's different because I try to search it out, you know what I mean, but I'm not the casual fan, you know what I mean? I'm not the casual person that's consuming the television and what you want to see, not even on TV, but even locally, you want to see a good product. And to be honest, sometimes if you're like Dwayne said, as far as being in Delaware, right? In Dover, the best game might be Dover High versus whoever, versus going to a Delaware State versus a Morgan State game. And unfortunately, to us as locals, we would rather go to that game versus a Del State game, or even at times a UD game. You know what I mean? Sometimes I might want to go see Sanford play whoever rather than going to see UD. So I mean, it's also about the product as well. Like Dom said, as far as the draw, not even the names, because some of these kids I don't know. It's just a matter of seeing that these games are close, these games are tight. You know what I mean? I see two quality good teams. Just like, for instance, if we're talking locally, we all kind of knew where it was going for the championship game before everything happened. It was going to be Dover and Sanford, and everybody wanted to see that game, regardless of what alumni school. If you were a basketball person, you pretty much knew that if it wasn't no hiccups or anything, that was going to be the championship game. And I wouldn't have been surprised if it wasn't sold out. So it's a matter of the product and what you put on. You know what I mean? So I think that as well. If the quality of recruiting and getting out there as well, just having and more notoriety within the local as well, because it's hard to see local highlights of college teams
Mhm.
that's not on the national stage. I can tell you just WBOC, I seen maybe a couple of highlights of Dell State games and rarely too much in the paper. And you know what I mean? Like the main time that we did see it in the paper is when we had local guys that played at these places. So I mean, it's a matter of a team effort as well as far as getting it out there with the media, the bigger media aspects as far as locally as well, like the WBOCs, the what's the one up here? This is like PA. It ain't really like everything is Pennsylvania. We
Yeah,
talking here,
'cause that's the
but
big that's the big draw.
but even with Pennsylvania, I mean, still you do have like even show some of the I guess in your in their area it'd be southern south, I guess for Delaware, but just some notoriety. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to see two clips of a layup and a good pass and then you just show me the score. Like show me what I'm missing in order for me to go see
Right,
a ticket or
right,
go buy a ticket. So
right. I got one more question on that. Just on the HBCUs and then we'll move forward to the next topic. But Biv mentioned something earlier about um the one and they're going to get done rid of the one and done rule, where you're going to be able to go straight from high school if you're good enough to go straight to the pros, and they're going to have the program where you can go straight from high school to go to the developmental league in the NBA. How does that hurt or help the HBCUs?
um I just think that with this period, just the thought of what Mikey is doing and what McCord is doing, just the thought of it is getting into people's ears. So
Mhm.
even though the top tier, like I mean, the lottery is it's 32 teams, it's 2 rounds, so it's 64 people that's going to be picked. So out of that 64, you still have thousands and thousands of kids that still are talented enough to make your program worth watching. So I mean, it puts the spotlight on them. Right now, they have the spotlight. You know what I mean? Like now, and you know how today is one day it's there, the next day it's gone.
Mhm.
So take advantage of this spotlight that you currently have and throw your name out there, man. And I
I agree.
mean, get it out there. I mean, one of the things that like the North Carolina Central coach, he tried to shoot a shot with LeBron's son. And I mean, LeBron's son is going into his sophomore year. So even if that notoriety catches or flames back up again, then you have this conversation again 2 years from now, to where the rules still might change, but at the same time, it's still in the back of their mind, like, yo, where's this school at? What's going on with this school? And if we still keeping the whole unity together as far as Black Lives Matter and everything as far as that, then I don't see why it would affect them. This should actually boost them in a sense.
I,
To
I,
me,
I
it evens the playing field.
mhm.
To me, it evens the playing. That would even the playing field because to me, you're the best of the best are going to jump right into the NBA, and then everybody else is just gonna fall in. But now, again, with everything that's going on, I do not think that you have to. I do not believe that you have to go to a bluegrass school in order to get drafted.
Right.
So I believe you can go to whatever college you want to go to, and as long as you do what you are supposed to do,
We'll
you will
see.
be drafted. Especially with the NBA, because if you can lead your team and get into March, and you don't even have to win. All you have to do is give that one performance.
And
Mhm.
show up.
That one performance will take you to where you
Number
want to
two pick.
be. You know what I mean? Think about what's his name? Played for the Tyrus Thomas. Went to LSU. Played with Big Baby Davis.
Mhm.
He only had a 2 to 3 week stretch of good basketball. And it came in the conference tournament. It came in the conference tournament, and then in the NCAA tournament. And he became, I think he was like drafted like 4th overall.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it doesn't matter where you go. What matters is what you do with the opportunity that you are given. So for me, I think it would even the playing field if this generation gets the knowledge and gets the exposure that they need in order to make these HBCUs appealing to them.
I agree with both of y'all. If I'm an HBCU to mine, I'm throwing flyers out at everybody.
Listen, just tell them to come to homecoming, man.
I'm shooting my shot with everybody, bro.
Yep.
Listen, just tell them to come to homecoming.
I'm in everybody DM, bro.
Everybody DM, bro.
Just tell them to come to homecoming. By any means, just have whatever weekend that is, block it off, have that as the recruiting pitch, and take them there.
Yes, I'm bringing my basketball, my baseball, soccer. I don't care. Everybody's coming in for a visit.
Yep.
For homecoming weekend. Yep. I need you there. I need you there for the entire weekend. I need you to experience everything.
Everything.
If you have not experienced an HBCU homecoming weekend, you missed out on a good thing.
You did.
You missed out on a good thing.
You did. You did.
All right, so going from kids choosing HBCUs to something that's kind of gonna be like we talking about, like kids choosing HBCUs is unprecedented now, but we seen that back in the 60s. You know what I mean, where it was a lot of people actually going to HBCUs. You know what I mean, a lot of black top athletes going to HBCUs. What we talking about right now, I want to jump right into conference play only is something that's kind of like unheard of. You know what I mean, unprecedented from the time of me watching football. So I want to throw it out there with a question. How will that look? You know what I mean, how does that look? Like, I got so many questions, you know what I mean, but I want to throw that one out there. Like, should they even try to play the season? Like, how does it look? Just conference only.
I like the conference only, to be completely honest with you, especially when you consider that, let's be real, majority of these schools, they play 2 cupcakes and then okay. Anyway, so who really cares?
Right.
So I believe there's enough competition, especially in the Power 5. Now, there's are going to be some schools, like what does Notre Dame do if they do a conference only? They're a huge school, huge following, no conference affiliation. Like what happens with them? But everybody else that's in the far as Power 5, there's enough competition in there and enough teams where you can play a 10-game schedule and separate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I believe that this is a great opportunity. And if you do want to go and you want to do like a non-conference game, you have to stay in state. That's how I would do it. You have to stay in state. If you want to play a non-conference game, stay in state. But I believe it's enough. If they play, at this point it's a huge if. Huge if. But if they play, I think the conference only will be fine. I think it's still enough to determine the best 4 teams as far as college football playoffs. I don't know I don't even want to go that far down the line to see how or if that's going to work. But the conference only, I believe that it can work out fine, just because there's enough top tier teams in each conference that you can decide, who's the best 4 teams in college football.
Even with this question, it made me think, like, should there be like a commissioner for the NCAA or something, as far as bringing everybody into one? Because I mean, the Patriot League and the other in the Ivy League, granted they're not Power 5, but they just said we're not going to have no season at all. So that sets precedence to where it has other schools thinking like, is it safe? And then they're thinking about mainly the bottom line. And at the end of the day, as far as the Notre Dame, to me, they're ACC. So they got their conference. They could probably work that out because most of their games is ACC anyway. So they probably could fit enough games in there. But it's I think was it the Pac-12 or the the Pac-12 is contemplating on whether or not to even play the season. So then it throws it. I don't know because then the playoffs. How would you do that? Would you do more teams?
Well, I got a great. I mean, just thinking about it, right? I got a great. But I'm gonna let you finish your point. But I do got a great way that they can do it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. As a football fan, I would like to see football. You know what I mean? But at the same time, though, I don't know because it'll be too much questions as far as championships and playoffs. Like, just imagine if all 5 power conference teams, like somebody at the top goes undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about 4, like Wayne said, you don't want to go that far, but like now it's just like where do you go? And you already know the Pac-12 gonna be.
And so, what's the what? Hold up to mine. What would be different from any other year? Nothing.
I think the way they do it now is flawed. I think it's flawed the way they do it now. So I think
the gambler misses out. Shout out
You
to
know
the
what I
people
mean?
who like the point spreads on them cupcakes. Because listen, bro,
Oh, you want them teasers? You want them teasers, huh?
Listen, when you got somebody with a 30-point spread and you know that they playing,
But you still can get that. You still
Hawaii
can get that.
State.
You still can get that. You still can get that, man. When Alabama go play Vanderbilt, you gonna still get them. You still gonna get them teasers, bro. When Michigan Michigan go play Illinois, you know what I'm saying?
No,
like I'm just throwing names out there, bro.
I know.
Throwing names out there. I believe we're gonna be trash this year, but don't worry about that.
Oh,
no, we're gonna be terrible. But I believe that you can have a season and you still have the playoff. You're still gonna question everything. I'm with you, Dom. It's flawed. You can't have a 14 playoff and tell me that there's 5 power conferences. That don't equate.
That don't make sense.
That don't equate to me. But whatever. I'm not even getting into that.
So
poor Pac.
So I guess I got a lot on this topic. One of the things I asked is, could this be a blessing in disguise? And the reason I asked that question is because, like I said, the way they're doing it now, is flawed. So I think that this is the year where they can just start throwing ideas out there. I mean, they can just start throwing things out there. So one of the things that I said that they can do is they take the Power 5, but they take outside the Power 5 because you got the Pac-12, you got the Conference USA with Memphis in it, who I think is okay. You got the American League with Temple and them in there. So one of the things they can do is with those conferences, they can do kind of how like the NFL does, where I think if you go undefeated and somebody else in the other conference goes undefeated, then we're looking at strength of schedule. You know what I mean? And what strength of schedule means is, listen, if you beat everybody in your conference and say there was another 11-1 team in that conference, and in another conference there was a 10-2 team, yeah, I mean, then of course you should be the number 1 seed because you got a strength of conference, a strength of schedule. So I think that's how they should do it. If they're going to go all conference games, they should just allow them to play it out and then just do strength of schedule. And I think that they should get rid of the 14 playoffs. They should get rid of the 14 playoffs. Everybody who is a leader in their conference should make the playoffs, and then they just play out from there. Because then what happens is UCF went undefeated 2-3 seasons in a row and couldn't make it to the playoffs. So I think if you do it
Boise
this
State
way,
in the past.
right? You said who?
Boise State.
Boise State. So like if you do it this way to where you just pick all conference winners and then just throw them out there, then I think it gives you that feel of, dang, we could have an upset, and we could have, if somebody on their game today, we could have an upset in the conference playoff. We could have a champion that we've never seen before. You know what I mean? out of the the Independence League. I mean, where Notre Dame is. I mean, or we can have a champion out of Conference USA. You know what I mean? So if they just open the field up to everybody instead of just trying to pick these 4 teams, and most of them from 2 of them probably gonna be from the SEC. One of them going to be from either the Big Ten or the ACC, because Clemson going to be in there. So it automatically throws the rest of the people in the bubble. You know what I mean? They automatically know that I'm on the outside. So why would I even have a season play this season if I know that I ain't gonna make it to the playoffs regardless of what I do? You know what I mean? So if they just allow it to be all the conference winners, they're going to be in the championship. They're going to be in the playoffs and have an opportunity to play for a championship. I think it'll make it interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially with like a team like Tulane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they would never have a shot. But like if they were to win their conference, then we would be able to see Tulane versus Alabama.
They would get smoked by Alabama.
Get smoked. They would get
absolutely smoked. They wouldn't even be worth watching.
I got faith in y'all, Tulane. Y'all would cover the spread.
So he mentioned Tulane. He did.
Smoked.
He mentioned Tulane. I'm not gonna say Tulane. I'm not
just
going to
throwing
throw Tulane out there. But a team like Utah, if they make it, because
they're in the Pac-12 though.
I think last year they got cheated. Yeah, I mean, so if Utah was dominant last year,
they lost 1 game.
But
right?
Did they win the conference championship?
They lost 1 game.
I think they did win the. Did they win?
Yeah, they only lost 1 game.
They won the conference championship.
I think they won their conference championship. Who won the conference championship? Was it you? Oh no, it was Oregon.
That's yours. Oregon.
Oregon won that conference championship.
They won the game. Like,
but can I say this? Even if Utah would have went undefeated, they still wouldn't. If Utah would have went undefeated, they wouldn't have put them. They would not have put them ahead of Alabama.
No.
They wouldn't have put them ahead of Alabama.
No.
Alabama didn't make it, did they?
No, because it was LSU, Oklahoma, Clemson, and I forget the 4th team. Oh, and Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State.
If Utah would have went undefeated, they was not making it over any of those 4 teams.
So you said Utah was dominant, but then they got smashed in the joint.
Yeah, they did. They got
37-15. Geez.
They got smacked. But that's what I'm saying is just open it up. You know what I mean? Make it fair. If you win your conference game, I don't want to go play for a Rose Bowl. I get it, Rose Bowl, whatever. I don't want to go play for no Orange Bowl. I want to go play for the championship. I want an opportunity to go play for the championship. Don't give me no Peach Bowl trophy. Don't give me no Iron Bowl trophy.
Hey man, them colleges like them, they come with a check too. So
yeah.
Now we're talking about football here, right? Now, it doesn't seem like this coronavirus is subsiding anytime soon. What does basketball look like?
College basketball
for college. Like, what does that what does that look like? Because everybody's right now, like, football is pretty much impossible to do a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
It's too many people to do a bubble. You think about what is that? Especially college. It's what, like 75 players, probably another 30 coaches. Mm-hmm. So it's virtually impossible. Now basketball, how is college basketball gonna work? Like you could say do conference only again and again. I believe that'll be fine. But when you start getting into possibility of all of the other things that's gonna happen as far as travel arrangements, because football is once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
College basketball ain't. Like you got 3, sometimes 4 games in a week. So like I don't know how that's gonna work. Even if they try to do a conference only.
Even
a conference bubble.
Even with a conference bubble, like this, like.
I mean, they do it pretty much for the conference tournament. They have it in the same facility. But
Yep,
in a
that's
sense,
only a
like,
week.
yeah, so it makes it hard. I mean, distant learning.
So what about how?
Give everybody a Chrome, was a Chromebook, and let them go at it.
Well, what about how they do summer league? Summer league is played in the NBA. Yeah, I mean, summer league is played on the same floor, where the Vegas, Orlando, wherever it is they play at. And
The thing is, we're talking about college kids though. Missing
yeah,
college classes, like they still got class on Tuesday.
man, you ain't going to class, man. Listen, y'all going virtual class. What are you talking about? Virtual class,
I was just saying, majority of them not gonna be on campus learning this fall anyway. So
right? So this is going to be virtual. So your whole focus is going to be basketball. I mean, not saying your whole focus, but you're gonna be virtual learning. That's what I think.
Their whole focus was basketball in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, very true.
That's
Very
true.
true.
But like I said, if you do it how the summer league does, where they have one game, you get off the court, and then you got another game that come right after that, and then after that you got another game. You know what I mean, so I think that's an idea that they can throw out there, where one conference picks one gym, and then another conference picks another gym, and that's you just go at it.
But it's the only thing, like Wayne was saying, as far as the travel though.
Yeah.
That's just the kicker.
Well, put all the kids, put like the NBA, put all of them in up in a hotel, or I mean,
that's a lot of hotels.
Listen, they got the money.
Not really. I
Man,
mean, yeah, it is, but
they make listen.
you
They ain't paying the athletes.
Then you got to pick a spot that doesn't have a hot zone or whatever the case may be in your conference, because like the NBA, they're all located in Florida. So
Right.
like you can't have all the conferences going to Florida. You know what I mean? So you got to pick neutral sites, and the Pac-12 can't have nothing in California, so they can go to Washington. I heard Washington is all right, so they can load up there. I mean, but
yeah, I mean, I think they figure it out. They definitely have to figure it
everybody
out.
Chromebooks.
Like I said, the least I think the least of my concern is what they're gonna do academically, because like I said, I think they'll figure that out. But I think, like you said, if they find a neutral site for the place for where they're gonna play, where the conference is gonna play at, I think it's doable. I think it is doable. Yeah, I think it's real. I think it's real doable to do it that way. And then it goes back to should they even have should they have seating? Should they have the 1 through 16? Like, how do they do that? How do they handle that? How do they put that together?
Well,
it's gonna be crazy. This football, I don't think we're gonna get college football. I really don't believe it's gonna happen. One, gotta kind of be enrolled in school, and I'm not even sure if that's gonna be happening. Like the athletes might be the only people on campus for sports. You know what I mean? But
that's what Ohio State is doing.
Yeah, and so I don't know. So I'm hoping that they can play football, but if they don't, I'm cool anyway.
So let's talk about that, right? Those two things. Because they didn't finish college basketball this year, and they probably ain't gonna have a season of college basketball this year coming up, or the following season coming up. How does that look, or how does that hurt the draft? You know what I mean? How does that hurt?
I don't think it has any effect on the draft.
You don't think so? I think some of the top people we know, right? The top people will know. But the second rounders, the late first rounders, how do we figure those people out?
Great question.
Again, you said it before, man. You said it when we did the last topic. The scouts need to be doing their due diligence. Like, this is where you find out if a guy has really been doing his job, or if the lady has been doing her job. So I think if right now you know what's going to happen when, I guess it's in August now, NBA draft.
Mm-hmm.
They pushed that to August. If we don't have college basketball, I still believe that they know. Everybody, I don't know, because I'm not a scout, but I believe that that they have done their due diligence to the point where they know who's going to be eligible and who is going to be falling where and who can do what and who can help whom. So I think they'll be fine as far as the draft. Now, the NFL is in the same boat. I believe that we've got enough film on players. If they don't play this upcoming season, they know what quarterbacks is good enough to go and be in the NFL. They know the running backs. They know these things. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. Now we talking about two seasons of nothing. Now we might get into some stuff where we might not even have a draft, where they might just be doing rookie signings. So
which is crazy. Like you said, which is crazy because I just think about Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow didn't have the season that he had, he's not the number one overall pick. Yeah, you know what I mean, so I feel like you said, I think scouts are really going to have to earn their money, earn their keep now, with this season coming up. But it also hurts the kids, and to the point where I'm like, man, I don't even know. Like if I'm Trevor Lawrence, okay, he probably made man. You know what I mean? He probably, unless he come out, even if he come out and throw 30 interceptions, he probably still won't be the number one overall pick. You know what I mean? Unless we just have somebody that has another Joe Burrow type season. But just mechanics and prototypical quarterback, Trevor Lawrence is your prototypical quarterback. Like he's your prototypical quarterback, right? And then we're talking about the new age quarterback. We're talking about Ohio State quarterback, Justin Fields. They're going to say, okay, we probably can work with them. But if you can't put nothing on film, I think it kind of hurts. It kind of hurts the prospect to the point where I'm like, man, I don't even know if I'm gonna come out. What I'm gonna come out for? What I'm gonna just go back to. Listen, you got to count this as this is what I would say. You got to count this as a red shirt season. You have to count this as a red shirt season for me. That's what I would say. I'm red shirt. I didn't play this year. I don't got nothing on tape. This is a red shirt season for me.
Hey, I was like, man, I don't think there's going to be a season. I don't know how they can maneuver around this because at the end of the day, what they're going to look like is somebody just looking out for their bottom line and not necessarily looking at the kid aspects. You know what I mean? Because if the majority of the enrollees don't come to class, then it's like, why is it that the athletes have to? Right. You know what I mean? And then it's going to be to the point to where like, okay, so why exactly are we making the athletes come? You know what I mean? So it gets to a slippery slope. And I mean, at the end of the day, they are student athletes. So, I mean, where the high schools go, maybe where the colleges go as well. Yeah, it's a funny thing, man.
But what if, again, go ahead, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean, this I don't know what it is,
it's
man.
Crazy.
This crazy, bro.
This is crazy, especially you're a sports head. Especially you're a sports head. The thing is, what if they just make the exception, right? Where we say they got to be enrolled in the school, or they got to have a certain GPA, whatever it is. But this is special. This is a special scenario. You feel me? This is a special scenario.
But then we would make the same case for baseball or soccer or field hockey.
Why not? That's what I would say. I would say, why not? This is because you got to think about this. We may not be zoned in or tuned into baseball, you know what I mean, or field hockey or soccer, but there are fans out there that are tuned in who will be just like us. If there's no college basketball and there's no college football, I'm gonna be highly upset. And there will be fans just like as passionate as we are for basketball and football. There will be fans that will be highly upset if soccer is not played, if baseball is not played. So why not? Because to me, if it's all about the fans now. That's how I look at it. It's about the fans. You know what I mean? So we already going through this crazy pandemic, you know what I mean, where like we don't know if schooling going to come back. Yeah, you know I mean, we don't know if the work marketplace is ever going to be the same. We don't even know if sports is going to be the same. I mean, as the way we know it, right? We don't know that. But if you could put a product up there that just gets my mind off of what's going on around with everything else that's going on. If soccer is my outlet, and it's the athlete's outlet, and it's the pro football, the pro soccer players outlet. If that gets their mind off of it, why wouldn't you want to give that to the people if it's safe, right? If you come up to you took all the precautions and you make sure it's safe, why would I not want to give that to the people without the stipulation?
Yeah, Dr. Fauci said ain't nothing popping off. He said ain't nothing popping off, yo. But speaking of nothing popping off, how about the Redskins having no name? Their name got popped off.
How about people absolutely losing their minds over this? How about that? Like, people are literally losing their minds over the name of a sports team. Like,
what was this energy like? They've been the Redskins for how long?
Ever. Like, people are losing their minds over it. And this is how I feel about it. I guess because I'm not full-blooded Native American, I don't know if I have any in me. You know what I mean? I guess I need to go on Ancestry or something, figure that out. But like, so I'm not offended myself. I can see where it's offensive, clearly. But at the same time, I don't care that they changed the name. I'm a Braves fan. I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. If tomorrow ESPN says the Atlanta baseball team is no longer going to be called the Braves, guess what? I'm still going to be a fan of the Atlanta baseball team. I don't care what their name is. I'm a fan of the team.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think people are taking this way too personal. Way too personal. It's like, everybody's like, man, we're just gonna get. Everybody's just following the bandwagon. I'm like, man, it's very offensive. You can clearly see that it's very offensive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just a name. Like, chill out. Like, it's like that team's gonna still be wearing the same colors when they come out of the tunnel on Sunday. They're just gonna have a different logo on a different day. Like, be mad if Dan Snyder decided to move the team to another town. Be mad about that. But don't be mad that because all of a sudden the money people told him he had to change it, or they were gonna take the money, and then now he has to change it. Like, it's just a name, man. It's not really that serious. It's not really that serious. It's just a name. And I'm saying it's not really that serious to both sides. To both sides. It's not really that serious. You know what I mean? Because we can't act like they were the Redskins. They just became the Redskins last week.
Right.
You know what I mean? They've been the Redskins since, I guess, that franchise has been in Washington.
The exception of the Redskins.
You know what I mean? They've been that since the beginning. You know what I mean? And it seems like it was something, I remember hearing rumblings of it back in the day that people were offended by it and they wanted the name changed, and they just went away. I don't know if they, or whomever the owner was at that time, I don't know if he threw them some money, then they went away or what, but it came back up and now it's going to be changed. Move on.
Yeah, I think it's more so, like you said, it's a money thing. And I mean, the people talk, and I think the majority of the people that talk or that have fence to it are not even sports fans, or if they are, they're casual sports fans. So they are looking at it in a different light as far as, especially the way the climate is now. And I always say this to my wife jokingly, but I'm like, man, it's a very offensive world nowadays. So like, something that wasn't offensive or taken as offensive 20 years ago is liable to be a hate crime today. So like, and the people that are making the noise, like you said, the money behind it is what's changing it. And I mean, it's sad to say, but like I said in our chat, money talks, man.
Yeah, I think I kind of when we first said we was gonna discuss the topic, I was like, man, this is so stupid. You know what I mean? It's like they've been the Redskins for forever, forever, right? Now automatically you want to change the name because we're saying it's offensive or whatever, and I'm like, but it was offensive when they first started. It was offensive 10 years after. Is it, they've always been that. But then I started thinking like I'm because I'm not a I'm again I don't know I'm like you, Biv. Maybe I got to go do my ancestry.com. I know I got Native American in me. I don't know to what extent. But when I started talking to my wife about it, and I was like, man, you know what? I would be very highly upset. Well, I don't know but if they had like the Atlanta niggers, like if that was, if that like, how upset would we be about that? Yeah, I mean, would we be in an uproar if that was a team's name? Yeah, I mean, because we feel as though that label or that name is offensive. And then I started thinking like, yeah, you know what? I kind of understand where they're coming from. Now, if I've this is what I'll say, if I've accepted it for however many years, yeah, I mean, if I accepted it for 50, 60 years, I, I don't know if I would go as hard as I see some of them doing, other people doing to change the name. Um,
I don't know about the niggas.
I'm with you, like, but
But
again,
this
I
the
don't. Go ahead, Biff.
but this is the thing. Like, if there was a team for whatever reason that was called the niggers, or the black skins, or the black faces, or something like that of that nature, see, there's enough of us to make an uproar. See, there's not enough Native Americans that their voice can be heard nationally or globally.
Yeah,
See, there's enough of us to make a rumble.
and we got buying
There's not a
power as well.
exactly. There's not enough. There's not enough of them. Like I think Tamana, we went to elementary school with one full-blooded Native American. I'm an adult. I don't think I've met one
Ooh,
since.
ooh.
She was only there for
Same.
like she was only there for like 1 year in like elementary. She was only there for like a 2 year
Okay,
elementary,
okay. I
bro.
was,
You probably don't even remember.
yeah, I was like,
I only
ooh.
remember her because she came in for show and tell, and she brought some of the stuff from her tribe.
Okay,
That's the only reason I remember her. But other than that, I don't know too many, if any. So like they have they don't have a voice to be heard to where they can make that rumbling if they wanted to make that rumbling 30, 40, 50 years ago that we could have made and that we're finally making
Making
that
right
we're
now.
finally making now.
Mhm. So my thing
You
is,
know what I mean?
if they don't have that voice, and maybe y'all both touched on it, y'all both said it, then why is this being brought up again?
because it's the money. It's the way the generation is now, the way the climate is now. They're looking at any and everything that looks offensive and say, "Yo," looking at it with a microscope.
I agree. I
I
agree.
mean, from them taking like, granted,
Social media,
taking it,
man.
yeah, that too. I
That's
mean,
it.
taking statues down. Trust me, I'm like, hey man, y'all should have been put that statue down if y'all want. But at the same, it's like it's just everything. It's like, all right, everything is with a microscope now, and the Redskins just happen to be another one that they already had. Like the history is there, to where there's been rumbles of it, the name changing. So let's bring it up again right now. Let's see if we can't make some headway. Then the
Man,
sponsors
like,
are like, "You're right."
let's go. Absolutely. But think about it. Like, think about it. Nowadays with social media, a fake news story can go viral.
Hmm.
Mhm.
A fake news story. So anything can happen with social media. And I'm not saying that this is what happened with the name change, but my question is, where are we gonna draw the line
Draw
on
the
that?
line.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a
Yep.
rabbit
Because
hole.
again, me not being Native American, I can't speak on what is offensive because it seems like the only team names that are offensive are ones that people have said, quote unquote, are supposed to be honoring the Native Americans, such as the Indians, the Braves, the Warriors, those types of things. those franchises now going to have to change their names as well? Or are we just going to draw the line on the one because that was just, like, that one was blatant. Redskins is just blatant. Like, let's just call it what it is. That's just blatant racism. You know what I mean? So,
and I'm glad you brought that up because that's a great point that you said that these names they say are honoring the Native Americans, and the reason I think that it took so long for them to actually start changing the name, one, like I said, I think is the money thing now, but it was just that the Redskins were saying that we're honoring the name, and they said that there was a school that was built called the Redskins, and it was predominantly Native American. Like they, so I think that I don't know if it's in DC or not. I looked it up. I ain't write it down, but
that's Chocolate City all day. But go ahead.
But so at what point, like you said, at what point do we start when we start to hear rumblings of, well, the Atlanta Braves, they're not honoring our heritage, and then we got to change that name because all those names that you talk about, the Braves, they had to change their name. They had to change the little logo on their jerseys. They had to change the name. They had to change
the State Seminoles.
Right. They had to change that.
I'm a Braves fan, man. In October, when they get turned up, I'm chopping.
Right.
I'm chopping. And now I can't do that. They say, you know what I mean? They're saying that is offensive, and they want that to stop. You know what I mean? And then
Tomahawk as your mascot.
Like me as a black man, I feel as though I can't say they're not offended. I can't feel like then get over it, move on, move past it. I can't say that. I'm a black man.
Right.
Because that's the same thing that Caucasians have been saying to us.
Yeah.
Get over it. Move past it. So I can't feel myself saying that. I don't feel right saying that to them. You know what I mean? But at the same time, let's just get it done and then deal with what comes next.
I'm with you. Because like you said, man, like where do we draw the line? That was the question that you asked. But you draw the line when if this is the role and the path that we're going down, if the Atlanta Braves mascot or the chop is offensive, we gotta nix that then. And then if the Cleveland Indian patch that they had, because they made them change that as well, I guess we gotta nix that. Yeah, you know what I mean,
and then what really is a Laker?
Well,
they were in Minneapolis.
No, I know.
They were in Minneapolis.
I know.
That was gonna be one of my arguments. Like when I was like, man, you know what? They going, like, if you change the name, like you lose some of the historical content of the Redskins. You know what I mean? Like they won 3 championships. They were the Hogs. You lose some of that historical content. But then I'm like, man, LA took all their champions. I mean, Minneapolis, LA took all the Minneapolis championships. You know what I mean? So they still count them Jones as LA championships when in all actuality, they should go to Minnesota. They should go to Minneapolis because that's where they won them at. But anyway.
They said, nah, that's the franchise. It wasn't the city, it was the franchise.
But yeah, like you said, man, it's an interesting topic. It was a touchy topic. I'm glad that they're getting it done now because it's just a spotlight, like Tamon said, it's a spotlight on all this stuff. It's a spotlight on if you sneeze wrong, if you're offended, like it's just a spotlight on anything. And I do think that we do live in a generation now, or we are in a generation now where it is like, man, you offended by everything, like everything somebody say, you offended.
Listen, man, I almost choked on my cough at the Wawa, just making sure, you know what I mean, I don't cough so people can hear me. Then, you know what I mean?
Oh no, I'm coughing, bro.
Yeah.
Being that mask.
Whatever, I'm coughing. And if they look at me, I'll be like, if you got something to test me right now to make sure I ain't got it, or I do got it, then test me. If not, shut up, move on.
Hey, shut up. We keep it pushing.
My daughter wants to wait until we get into the store. Yo, man, are you serious? You could have did. Oh, you need some water? Let's go back outside and get some water. Man.
But man, I was watching and we can get back in. We can go into the NBA right after this. But I was watching like some sitcoms from the 90s. There's no way they could be on
No
TV.
way.
There's no way they could be on TV now, man. No way.
Oh,
Not a chance.
why not? Why not?
Man,
Some of the stuff that
the alphabet community.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
They
you're
not
right.
having
You're right.
it. They
You're
not
right.
having
You're
it.
right. Hey, man, shh, before they mess around.
They would not. I'm being
You're
real.
right,
They would
though.
not. They would not be having they would not be having the comedy from the 90s. They wouldn't have.
They're about to cancel the Shy and ATLs. And they're about to cancel all them soon. Watch. Oh, that's offensive. That's offensive.
Hey, when is Snowfall coming back on? Before we get back, does anybody know when that's?
I don't know.
I don't know. They renewed it, but I don't know.
Actually, shoot, that's one of the topics we should talk about soon, man. These shows. Anyway,
Hey, that's I think that's my one and only since Power gone.
yeah. Listen, I don't got no show, man. Listen, I then went back and I said, Cole, babe, let's just binge watch Grey's Anatomy. Let's just binge watch Grey's Anatomy. Ain't got nothing else to watch.
Hey, man, my wife had me in here watching Supermarket Sweep the other day, man. I was
watching it the other day too, bro.
It took me back to me and my mom watching Supermarket Sweep. I thought I was gonna be on that show. All right, so make sure we get
inflation is real.
Yes, it is.
Inflation is real.
Yes.
Courtney, some of the prices in '93 for some of that stuff.
Man, boy, I wish I had a time machine.
What? I go back there and shop till I drop, and then come back to the time machine with everything.
Right.
Shout out to Marty McFly from the time machine.
They got the DeLorean.
Yeah, the DeLorean.
Speaking of, man, like time
machines and
like
bubbles.
that, right? Time machines and bubbles. Let's talk about this restart, right? This NBA restart, man. I got so many questions about it. I got so many like different opinions and views on it. But the one thing I wanted to talk about or start out with is Rondo's injury. How does that impact the Lakers?
Jeez, you took me off.
I believe they'll be fine. I believe they'll be fine. I believe that's one less person you have to worry about having to handle the ball.
So this is why Estamana looks it up. This is why I think that they won't be fine. Because
hold on. Before you say that, I didn't have them winning the championship anyway.
Gotcha.
So it didn't make a difference.
Me either. So but so I think they make such a big issue with a secondary ball handler for LeBron, because LeBron has to handle the ball so much and everything like that. To now, when Rondo goes down, you got to think about that, man. We think about Rondo's IQ. We think about him setting everybody up with that second unit. Who does that when LeBron goes? Listen, they already struggled when LeBron went to the bench. They already struggled. Now you come in the playoffs and LeBron go to the bench and say he playing the Clippers, and the Clippers send that wave off the bench.
Y'all don't think they're gonna win the championship?
Heck, no, I think. Listen, one of the reasons why I don't think we're gonna win championship. Never mind, I ain't gonna get.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead with Rondo. I'm sorry. I had because y'all was saying it when I was looking, but listen, man. Rondo is he's an integral part to any team, in my opinion. Whatever team that he plays on. So losing him is huge. I mean, it's probably one of the reasons why LeBron recruited him. So, it's a big part, but I mean, I still think at the end of the day they're gonna get to at least the conference final.
Oh man, listen. It depends on how it falls.
On paper, they're the biggest team, man. So
on paper, they're the biggest team. But listen, this ain't the 80s.
It's
ain't
not.
The 90s.
It's
not. I don't even want to get into that because to me, one, I believe Dwight Howard is now officially the biggest clown ever.
Yo, did you hear what he did, yo?
I don't even want to talk about. He's the biggest clown ever. He put up all of that fuss about not playing, and then gonna play.
No. But not even that. Did you hear about they had a?
I stopped listening to anything he had to say or anything anybody had to say about him after he went through all of that, and then still gonna play. But
okay.
I still don't trust the rest. I don't trust the rest of those dudes on that team outside of the dude that wears 23. I don't trust the rest of them.
And like you said they big, right? Is JaVale gonna play?
I trust AD.
Yeah, okay.
Based off what?
Based off of him.
No. That ain't good enough. That ain't good enough because he's done nothing. So
he hasn't.
Yeah, the last thing AD did was win the national championship.
LeBron will propel him to where he needs to be. Hopefully, unfortunately, he has to depend on that. But nonetheless, I mean, it's a definitely a formidable duo. So I mean,
absolutely.
No, AD hasn't done anything in the playoffs, but he's never played with LeBron in the playoffs. So that's to be determined.
What you're saying is LeBron is going to bring greatness out of AD.
I didn't say greatness. You put words in my mouth. I never said greatness. I'm just saying AD, I think, is going to be who he is. Listen, don't knock AD he had 40-point games in the playoffs.
And got swept.
He did, but he still performed in the playoffs.
And got swept.
Now he did. I'm not knocking that. I'm saying though, you got now arguably the best player that's ever played the game in what seems like the prime, because this dude don't age. I don't know what 84 he was born in.
Oh, he aged.
He got the time machine and split the 84s and went to a different 84. But either way, yeah, he has age, but he's still.
Because listen, just think about last year.
Well, no. Hold on. Before you say,
go ahead.
You didn't hear about Dwight Howard being the only person showing up to an NBA party. They had a DJ set up and like 3 DJs for the bubble, and they had a party, and he was the only person that showed up. They was like, why would we come to a party where there's no females, bro? And you would be the only one that shows up.
You know why Dwight Howard showed up? You know why? Listen, never mind, man. Never mind. I'm sorry, Dwight. I'm sorry, Dwight.
Stop that, T. You can't be doing that, man. The alphabet community don't.
I'm sorry, man.
Is he a part of that community?
That's the thing. I don't know if he is or not. I mean, if he is, dude. If that's who you are, man, be who you are.
If that's who he is. Listen, it's 2020.
You know that's who you are, man. Be who you are.
I just found it funny that it was a party and he was the only one that showed up.
But we know why. Anyway.
I still find it fun.
We don't know why. I don't know why. I still find it
funny that he's there at all.
Right.
Like, dude, you put up all of this fuss about not playing, and then you went down there and played anyway. But anyway. But the Lakers. I don't believe they want to see the Pelicans in the first round.
Ooh, boy, you got to one of my questions.
I don't believe they want to see the Pelicans in the first round. I think that's going to be.
Got to one of my questions.
I think that's going to be way. I think that series is going to be way more competitive. And the Lakers, they might. I believe the Lakers will win that series. They'll probably win it in 5 or 6, only because the Pelicans don't have that experience yet. But that is going to be a tough series, and I think it's going to take a lot out of it.
Remember, I forget what season, what year it was. Cleveland played Detroit, first round. They swept Detroit, but Detroit made it tough, man. They made it hard on LeBron and them. This was the question I asked: which was a better matchup, Ja and the No Names versus LeBron and them, or the King versus Mount Zion and the Laker cast-offs?
Y'all just disrespecting my Trailblazers, bro. Y'all just skip right over them. They in 9.
What about them?
The Trailblazers, like they don't have a shot.
They don't.
It's just the Pelicans.
Hold on, man. Hold on, bro. Nobody said they didn't have a shot, man. I was just saying that I think the Pelicans are going to take the 8th seed.
I think they are too. Man, have you seen the Pelicans schedule?
They got the Jazz, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Kings twice, the Wizards, the Spurs, and the Magic.
Why they get the Kings twice? That's disrespectful.
That was the schedule.
Hey, I didn't make it.
Man.
The Grizzlies, the Rockets, the Clippers, the Mavericks, the Celtics. They set the Blazers up, bro.
That was their remaining schedule. But this is what
You
I'll say.
sure? You sure that was their remaining schedule, bro?
This is what I'll say.
Nah,
No,
they
no.
had to put it. They had to make the schedule for the bubble.
They
Right.
set them up. Bro,
But
they played the
listen.
Celtics and the Sixers.
Listen, the Pelicans had the Pelicans before everything happened. They had the easiest remaining schedule in the NBA. So, but this is what I'll say. Outside of the Pelicans, I think that the Blazers is another team that the Lakers probably would not want to see in the first round. I would say that. I would say that. Just because they got Dame, they got a bona fide killer. They got CJ, and I think that if Nurk come back, they can match their size. If Nurk come back,
I wouldn't be surprised if the Blazers beat.
I wouldn't be surprised either. They can match that size. They
I
can match
wouldn't be
that size,
surprised.
and one person.
But the Blazers just got to get in, and I
Right.
don't think they're gonna. I just don't think they're gonna get in.
If a LeBron
That's
Melo in the first round, that could be interesting. That
Melo
could be
needs some
you mean
redemption.
Lonzo.
no, not Lonzo, man, Melo.
He said Melo.
Oh, you no, that wouldn't be interesting. It wouldn't
Why
be.
wouldn't it be interesting?
Why wouldn't it be? You don't think Melo will go find the fountain of youth?
I can say, bro, you don't think
It
Melo
looked like he has.
He gonna get up and play
like
for that
he
team.
has.
Man, he might come out there. Man, you never know, man. He might go
Listen,
get some.
I used to
might go
love them
get a
matchups.
He might go see 6'9" person, man, and get a lace front and just get some braids put in just for the heck of it, bro.
Hey,
And bring it back for him.
And bring
hey,
it
if he
back.
bring back Denver Melo,
Bring
oh,
it back
Bring.
for him real quick, man. Let him know
Bro,
what
has
it
some
is.
problems.
Melo gonna show up for that series, boy. I'm gonna tell you, he's showing
He'll
up.
be energized for
He
that.
coming up. He coming with the hoodie and everything.
But yeah,
He's showing up.
they set the Blazers up, bro. They set the Blazers. They played the Clippers and the Nuggets and the Rockets and the Sixers and the Celtics
And the
Mavericks.
Just think
And
about
the
that.
Nets.
What's more intriguing though? What's more intriguing? AD going back to New Orleans.
Yeah, that's tickets.
And-
I get it.
and the superstar now, because I think BI is a superstar now. He's great to be a superstar. The superstar that you cast off, Brandon Ingram.
You said BI. I had to go.
Oh,
through
Brandon
the
Ingram.
Rolodex.
Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
Listen, when you become superstar, man, you just go by one names or I mean your initials. That's what you go by now. But Brandon Ingram, just think about it. I mean, bringing Ingram, going back there. You kept Kyle Kuzma over me. All right, I'm gonna show you some work then. And then you got Zion.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back the boy, the ref that cheated the Kings. I wouldn't be surprised they bring him back just so they can have that matchup, the 1 versus 8, because that'll be ratings.
Yeah, that'll be rating.
What's the what was it? Tim Donahue? Is
Tim
that his name?
Yeah, man.
Donahue.
Stay away from that guy, man. Don't do that to yourself, man. Adam Silver ain't gonna do that to himself.
I hope not, man, because I mean, they did something. Who? Listen, bro. I'm a Carmelo fan. Just let everybody know, okay? And I told everybody I'm trending towards the Blazers because I like Dame and I like McCollum and them. They got a
They got
Hey, listen.
they got an uphill battle, man.
If they can get in.
Definitely got an uphill. If they get in, they deserve to get in.
They get in, they
By
deserve
all
to get in.
means.
Listen, if Memphis did get in, they deserve to get in as well.
Who does Memphis play? Let me look at Memphis. Who did?
Yeah, Memphis got to up. I think
The
Memphis.
Grizzlies got Portland,
Spurs.
the Spurs, the Pelicans, the Jazz, the Thunder, the Raptors,
Okay.
the Celtics, and the Bucks.
Yeah,
They got
got
all
decent
playoff
team.
teams.
So they gotta. Well, everybody got playoff teams. They only playing the teams that's in the bubble.
I'm talking about all good playoff teams.
So everybody that's there, as long as you don't play. Really, if you don't play the Wizards or the Suns, you know,
Why the Lakers gonna
Maybe-
play the Kings?
and maybe the Magic.
I'm sorry. Why the Lakers gonna play the Kings, man?
So let me ask y'all this question:
And the Pelicans
Russ.
playing twice.
Russ having COVID, how does that affect the Rockets?
Long as he's healthy within the next few weeks, he'll be
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, they'd be all right. He got a 14-day quarantine. He announced it yesterday, so the countdown begins.
Yep. So if he's straight by the 31st, he'll be
Yeah.
all right.
Yep. And by the
They ain't
looks
going.
of it,
They
it's
ain't
what,
going
the
nowhere.
28th?
They ain't going nowhere. But
You don't think so?
Hey, listen, I think that's a tough listen. I think if they play the Lakers, that's a tough matchup because 80 don't play big. He don't play big.
Oh,
do they still
why
got
is it
who
shocking?
is Mike D'Antoni still a coach in Houston?
Yeah, he's still the
He
coach,
is,
man.
he
He's
is.
still
Then they
the
ain't
coach.
going. Then they ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere.
They can't make it to the second round.
Depends on who they get ready to play. Right
So
now, they the sixth seed.
right now they be playing the Nuggets.
They don't want that smoke. They don't
Nah,
want that smoke.
because they play big.
They better be going.
They
They better be looking. They better be looking to get into that 4 or 5 matchup so they can try. They better be looking to play the Thunder so they can take advantage. So they can take advantage of their youth. They don't want to see anybody else. They don't want to see.
I
You
want to
don't
play
want to
Lakers
see
if I'm them.
Denver.
I
You
won't
don't want to
Lakers.
play.
I don't want to play
If
Denver.
you're the
though.
Rockets,
Yes, listen.
you want to
They
play the Lakers?
they gave the Lakers problems both games they played them, and
Wait,
AD don't
Rockets?
play big. He doesn't play big.
Hey,
And then you ain't dumping it down to him, and he abusing you on the block.
he
He
still
don't play
dominates.
big.
He still dominates. We can say that about Joel.
Stop it, Joel. Oh my God, never mind. No.
But needless to say,
Yeah, he do be letting people off the hook though.
Needless to say,
He ain't letting no shooting guard off the hook. Well,
Yeah,
you know,
he'll abuse PJ Tucker though. I'll give you that. He'll abuse PJ Tucker.
AD ain't abusing
gonna be
PJ Tucker.
AD gonna be shooting 18-foot
AD
fadeaways and stuff.
like when PJ play, he plays center. I don't want to play that, coach. AD plays
I don't
center.
wanna play
I
center.
don't want to play that.
anyway, so the Lakers are 5.5 games up with 8 games to play, right? And
Yeah,
then the
they're in.
Nuggets are 7 behind them. The Jets. So really, the seeding is a matter of can change between 2 and 6, maybe 7, and then it's just
It's
a battle of the 8.
it's 2 to 6. 2 to 6 can change. Actually, 2 to 7 can change.
But
But
they're
even
pretty
2
much
is
all
a
in.
bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
Even 2 is a bit of a stretch because the Nuggets are what?
they're half a game and a half.
A game and a half. A game and a half. So like then when you look at the Clippers, look at the Clippers schedule. They get the Nets and Suns. So
They get the Suns. How the heck? How the heck they get the Suns? Yo, Adam Silver, holler at me. What did the Trailblazers do?
I think he went off strength of schedule. I think when I was listening to him, they said they went off strength of schedule. So remaining strength of schedule for the teams that was in the playoffs.
Now we've been talking about the West the entire time.
Yeah.
Why haven't we discussed this?
I think.
I don't know.
Is it because it's so fluid? Like there is no definitive team there in the East.
And for me, I would say this: I don't think there's a definitive team in the West too. I just think that the glamour name.
There's no definitive team. There's no definitive team in the West, but everybody has sort of come to this consensus that it's a battle of LA.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everybody feels like it's LA versus the field.
Right.
Versus the East, they just feel like it's the field.
I think
like
honestly,
even the Sixers are the 6th seed, but no one would be surprised if they went to the finals.
I agree. I think, but this is what I said. I think the consensus
they not beating the Suns.
I just said if, man. I said if.
Sorry, man. I'm just
listen. I
just want to see Dom
if they play up to the potential, they go into the finals anyway.
Potential.
But I think a lot of
is Brett Brown still coaching in Philly?
Is.
Unfortunately, yes.
Same thing with Houston. As long as he's coaching in Philly,
unfortunately,
they ain't going nowhere.
Listen, can I go on a little rant real quick since you mentioned my man Brett Brown?
You got it, man. You got it.
It's been 3 years, my man.
Been at the 4.
It's been 3 years, my man played point guard. Been playing point guard for 3 years. 3 years.
They put him on the block.
And then all of a sudden you wake up one night talking about he an all-universe power forward. Nigga ain't played power forward in the NBA not one day in his life.
He played point guard in high school, bro. And he was.
Why'd y'all sign Al Horford?
Hey, I wondered that too, but they
And Brand.
gave him
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. Can I say this? When we did it, I said, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go back to we're gonna beat people up. If we beat people up, then it was a good signing, but we ain't been beating people up. Al Horford out here shooting threes still.
That's him.
No.
Yo, it almost feels like one of those signings where it was more so to hurt the Celtics and keep him from going to another team with no actual plan in motion or even a thought of a plan in sight of how to utilize it.
Because I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. It sounds like the Sixers. I'm gonna tell you. I think he had a bigger offer in Sacramento. He had a bigger offer to go play in Sacramento, and then we swooped in to sign him. Just like you said, oh, he knows how to play against the Celtics, and he hurts Joel. So because he hurts Joel, we're gonna sign him. Oh my. And it felt like Elton Brand went back to 1999 with the signing. That's what it felt like.
Or they may have been thinking of Milwaukee to try to do something with Giannis and the Lopez boy. Possibly. I don't know. Because I thought that signing was weird when I seen it.
I thought the signing was weird too at the beginning. Like
I liked it. I liked it at first because I didn't
think it fit because to me, Al Horford is a perimeter guy now.
Right.
He's a stretch forward. And I'm like, man, so now you got a point guard who won't shoot, who's going to be on the perimeter, a 5 that wants to be on the perimeter, and a 4 that wants to be on the perimeter. What are you getting ready to run, a 5-0 offense?
That's what we out. That's what we doing, 5 out.
That's what we doing. Like, what are you doing?
Here's my other thing. Since y'all mentioned it again, since we sticking on my team, we sticking with the Sixers.
No. Well, let's talk about somebody else.
Real quick, last point.
Okay.
He brought up Brett Brown. I got.
Let him get it
all out.
Cole probably happy right now.
You take Tobias Harris, where he is a borderline all-star in that position at the 4 spot. You put Ben there, and now you put him to a spot in the 3 where we saw. It didn't look good. It didn't look good. Put him at he's not faster than the natural small forward. And he's not bigger than the natural small forward. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope it works. I hope it works out.
Sometimes them coaching trees them branches don't pan out right.
Speaking of coaching tree, right?
This is not a knock to Greg Popovich, not one bit.
Speaking of coaching tree, can they keep that streak going? The Spurs, can they keep that streak going?
Oh no, it's dead. It's dead this year.
Which streak you talking about?
Making the playoffs.
22 seasons in a row streak?
Yeah, no,
it's over.
I don't see that.
It's over this year. It ends this year.
With that, because I think it is also. So with that being said,
LA not playing, right?
Huh?
LA
is not playing. Yeah, he's not playing.
Yeah, it's
listen, Pop not to make man not put that duct tape together, man, and not do.
They're gonna have to go. They're gonna have to win the whole 8-0.
They can do that. It's Pop in them, man. It's Pop, but I don't think they're gonna do it. So with that being said, there was rumors that the Brooklyn is going all out for him. So do you think
all out for Pop?
Yep, all out for Pop. So do you think that this should be his last season with the Spurs?
If I was the Spurs front office, I would say no.
I mean, if you're the Spurs front office,
I'm just saying like if it gets trendy. I mean, but it was trending that way last season. Like even though they still went to the playoffs, it didn't look like the Spurs.
Right.
So it would be like, are you gonna bring in Tim Duncan? Tim Duncan's gonna be a head coach?
Either that or Becky.
For me, I think both are. I say both of them should be willing to split ways.
And that's why I agree.
I believe the Spurs organization should be like, you know what? It's time for a culture change, period. You know what I mean? I think Kawhi wanting to leave should have been the writing on the wall that, just Greg Popovich's time here is done. He might not be done coaching, but his time here is done. Like there can't be any hard feelings from either party. You know what I mean? It can't be any hard feelings. It's just a new beginning. One, from the moment that they were done, the moment that that run was over with, like DeMar DeRozan he's not the guy. To be honest with you, LaMarcus Aldridge isn't the guy. Both of those guys, in my opinion, can probably be the number 2. You know what I mean? And then LaMarcus Aldridge, he's aging like he's aging kind of fast. I didn't expect them to be like falling off this quick,
and he doesn't
you know
have
what
a
I
left.
mean? And I'm not even getting into that, but it's like both parties, the Spurs and Greg Popovich, both should be willing to just go ahead and just move on from one another and start afresh, man. And I mean, if Brooklyn wants to go at him, I don't even believe Pop will want to go to there, because I don't believe he wants to deal with egotistical superstars and KD and Kyrie. You know what I mean? He's used to the humble superstar that you know what I mean, fall in line and do whatever needs to be done to win. I think KD showed that he can be that type of guy in Golden State. But that culture was that culture. And he was going to either fall in line or be removed. You know what I mean? Brooklyn, they don't have no culture. So him and Kyrie are going to be trying to establish a culture, and those two, I don't think they're going to click. I don't think those two will click with Pop.
I think
Kyrie will click with Pop.
I think Kevin Durant I think Kevin Durant will click. I think Kevin Durant is an easygoing superstar, but I agree kind of what you're saying with Kyrie, because Kyrie, I think he can butt heads. But I do think that Pop is exactly what Brooklyn needs, as far as a culture setter, because you got to think about this. Brooklyn had a culture before Kyrie and them got there. What Kenny Atkinson did, he was building a culture. He was building a culture there. I think that Pop can be that guy that elevates Brooklyn. But I do agree with you when you say that I think that they all should part ways. I think it's been 23. He's been there since '97. So or '96 or '97? '96, I think. That's 24 seasons. 24 seasons with that one franchise. I think it's just time for a different voice. It's time for a
Question is,
Uh-huh.
if the Patriots go 4-12 this season, do you get rid of Belichick?
No. And again, I'm not saying that you just get rid of Pop either. But I think it should be a mutual. I think if Pop leaves the Spurs, it has to be Pop's decision. The same thing with Belichick. If they go 4-12, you don't just they was legit won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So I don't think you just get rid of him, but I think it has to be his decision. Maybe Pop just doesn't have that same fire that he has with San Antonio no more. You know what I mean? And then
I think Pop will work well in Dallas with
well, George, listen,
he likes guys from overseas.
Rick Carlisle was a staple there, boy. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, I know he knows.
You know what I mean? So I just think it may be time. Like Biv said, man, I just think it may be time for them just to mutually part ways. You go get your fire back. Come to the Sixers and coach the Sixers. But you know,
that's what this was about.
Nah, but I'm saying, like, if he wanted to leave, I wouldn't knock him for it. I don't see any problem.
So you want Pop in Philly, you want Giannis in Golden State.
Right, black.
And you want a Philly Golden State
Finals, yes.
You want a Wilt Chamberlain Finals.
Yes, sir. And listen, maybe Devin Booker, man. Maybe listen.
Devin Booker? Where the heck he come from?
What about Devin Booker?
He can
maybe Devin
Phoenix,
Booker.
bro.
Devin Booker can make his way to Philly too.
For who?
Joel. But that's another topic. Anyway.
For Joel? So Joel's the piece that's holding y'all back?
No, I don't think that. I don't think that either piece is holding us back. But what I'll say is this: I think that we haven't seen We haven't seen them under another coach. So I want to say before you move anybody, give us another coach and see if it is either one of them.
I get that, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But I get that.
I believe you get rid of the coach and one of them.
And if you get one of them, it has to be Joe.
Yeah,
Joe.
I believe that's the smarter one. But I do believe you'll get more for Ben. But
I do agree that you'll get more for Ben.
The smarter trade is to get rid of Joel just because he's the question mark as far as health and everything.
Y'all should have got rid of Brett Brown and kept Jimmy.
Should have. Because listen, oh my goodness, listen. You done opened up another door.
I'm sorry. No. We done went over. We went past. I'm sorry.
If you was going to listen, I'm gonna just say this, man. If you was going to move Ben to 4, then why not just keep Jimmy, who was going to be the primary ball handler? The reason you got rid of Jimmy because you said Ben is the primary ball handler. Anyway, we can move on.
Let's final thought. Is that your final thought? Nah. That's your final thought.
Man, listen. I don't listen, you got me all discombobulated, man. I don't know if I got no final thought.
He ain't got no final thought tonight.
Come
man.
on.
He in his bag right now.
Come on, we gotta bring Dami Lama back, man. He bring the wisdom back. Come on.
We can't let this is a learning lesson. This is a learning lesson. We cannot end the show talking about basketball, about the NBA, unless the Sixers are in a good place. Because if the Sixers are in a good place,
well then I guess we just have to be talking basketball in the middle of the show then. I'm joking. Nah, I'll let you get your thoughts.
I feel your frustration though, brother. I feel your frustration though, man.
I'll say a final thought.
I'm legit trying to think of a final thought though.
As we can see, everything is all speculative because of this COVID virus. If somebody can spray something to kill it over everything, I would greatly appreciate it. But I mean, everything is subjective, not subjective, but everything is questionable in the future, which sucks. But it does look like basketball is on the up and up as far as the processes. And even if people do get sick, it looks like they got a protocol of how to go things. I think the one thing is going to be like if somebody huge gets sick in the middle of a playoff series, that's the trick. You can keep that, then I mean, I'm looking forward to basketball. I don't know how football is going to do. But yeah, that's my final thought. That's COVID. That's COVID-19, 20. The virus. I didn't like Coronas in the first place. I like Heineken myself if I drink beer. But go ahead, my fault.
So it is final thought wise. As like we passionate about sports, so we talk about sports. We passionate about a lot of different things. But I will say that those people are humans just like us, and they can be affected by COVID just like us. So if the seasons don't happen, don't be all in the uproar. Just like that's their passion. I would say during this season, if we don't get sports back, spend time developing your passion. Spend time developing things that you love, so that way those things can't be taken from you. I mean, things that you develop in this season during this downtime, allow that to be what propels you into the next season. Once we get out of this COVID-19 and whatever it is that this pandemic, allow that to be the things that you stand on to the point where they can't take it from you. Because they took sports from us, they can take sports from us, and then if that's your only passion, where do you go from there? You know what I mean? So develop passions, develop skills that you can be passionate about, and that way when you move on from COVID-19, and if sports never come back, then you have a passion that you can be passionate about, that you can put all of your energy into.
There it is, Dami Lama came back.
For me, just because we touched on it a couple of times during the show. be yourself. Be who you are. Don't allow others to dictate who you are and what it is that you do. It's 2020. Be yourself. Don't be afraid to step out there and be yourself. Whatever it is that you know you're into, whatever lifestyle that is that you want to be a part of. If that's what you want to do it. But don't be afraid to be who you are. And at the same time, life is way too short to take everything so serious and take everything so personal. It's way too short, man. Enjoy life. Love the people that love you and love the people that don't love you. You'll go through life a lot easier. Life will be a lot easier if you just learn to love people. That's all I got to say.
That's good. That's
Oh,
good.
so now we got Dummy Liv in the building. Lord, listen, man. I need to get my quotes together, brother.
Listen, I said, man, Bib just told them to stop being so offensive, man. That was
Listen, man. I need to get my wisdom game up. My final thought processes. I need to start writing it down. That's what
You're gonna be like this. You're gonna be like this, bro.
Exactly. Final thought. So my final thought is listen, I'm gonna put big words in there, SAT words, all the words.
You're gonna be a walk at the stores, huh?
Like that. Like that.
Well, let's end this expeditiously.
Yes,
because I'm hungry.
Oh man. Listen, I know what it is, man. We thank y'all for joining us. Share, like, follow, subscribe to all our platforms, YouTube,
comment,
Instagram. Yep, comment. Tell a friend. If you want to be on the show, let us know. You got something to speak about, something that's on your heart, something that's on your mind, something you're passionate about. Reach out to us. Let us know, man. We accepting guests. We love having guests on the show. But until next time, man, y'all know what it is. Speak on it, y'all.